I want to get right into it and matchup of the ages. The Great Escape, which was 1963, versus The Truman Show, which was 1998. Now, here's something that you need to know.
Tell me.
The Great Escape was the #1 film of 1963. It was also the #1 war movie with hardly any violence. That was a category. And the #1 best movie about making an escape. This is 4 amazing actors: Steve McQueen, James Garner, Charles Bronson, and James Coburn. Last episode, we talked about spaghetti westerns. James Coburn was a definitely big part of the spaghetti westerns. But in addition to him, Charles Bronson and Steve McQueen were in a film called The Magnificent Seven 3 years before The Great Escape. The budget for this movie, $4 million. Box office, made $12 million. So this was a success. And I want to talk about Steve McQueen because he's from my home state of Indiana. He is dead, and he died at the age of 50 from some type of a cancer that you typically get from asbestos. And I don't think they know how he exactly got it, but they think it might have been from when he was working in the Marines. He joined the Marines at age 17, was a tank driver and a mechanic. And interestingly enough, he worked as a motorcycle mechanic on James Dean's motorcycle. So James Dean, you know, the big, the famous actor who died young.
What's that group called that James Dean's a part of? There's like 4 actors and they're part of.
I
forget their.
Oh, no. You're thinking of Dean Martin.
Oh, I was thinking of.
That's the Rat Pack.
The Rat
That's
Pack.
completely
Rat
different.
Pack. Oh, I was thinking of, Dean's
Martin.
Sausages. Or who's that?
Or Jimmy Dean.
Jimmy Dean. That's what I was thinking.
Well, we've covered all the
thinking
Deans.
of sausages.
All the Deans and Jimmys we've covered. So there you have it. Steve McQueen did most of the motorcycle stunts in this film because he was a motorcycle enthusiast. And in fact, they rewrote the script. They rewrote the script.
That's like an old English way to say.
It's old English. He demanded that because he wanted his character to do more, and they added all these motorcycle scenes. So that's literally what happened.
That's why there were so many motorcycle scenes.
They added.
What's funny is it's on the poster too, but it's not until like the end of the movie.
It's very end of the movie, right? So he
doesn't make sense.
He did all the stunts except for the big stunt at the end. He didn't make it over the board. He actually crashed when he tried jumping over the board.
He tried jumping over the fence.
Yep.
Yeah.
He didn't make it. There's a scene after the breakout. So no surprise, it's The Great Escape. And it's about these prisoner of war soldiers who tunnel out of a prisoner of war camp in Germany. This is the story. What's crazy about this, guys, is that this is a true story, and they did not alter any of the escape part. Everything was true to the way that they escaped. They consulted with whoever they could consult with. There were 3 successful escapees, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But going back to Steve McQueen, you remember that scene where it was after the breakout and McQueen, he strings a wire across the road to get that motorcycle? Well, he played the German guy who was riding that motorcycle who hit the wire because he's a motorcycle guy. And while filming in Germany, he got arrested and put in jail for excessive speeding on his motorcycle. So he's a pretty crazy guy. The real life escape happened on March 24th, 1944. March 24th is Steve McQueen's birthday. So there you go.
Oh, wow.
Steve McQueen was a pallbearer.
Why are you touching your shirt?
I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, okay. I thought you want me to finish your sentence. You're like,
This doesn't mean finish my sentence. That's not what this means.
I don't know what it means, but I hope you get to the meeting fast. I did not see the same movie you did.
Anyway,
Okay, pallbearer.
he was the pallbearer at the funeral for Bruce Lee. Hello.
Oh!
Now it all makes
Hello?
sense. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know why I didn't put that together with that
Yeah.
physical display.
So there you have it. He was a pallbearer at the funeral for Bruce Lee. Anyway, he was cast as John Rambo in First Blood, but he died in 1980 and wasn't able to take that role, so it went to Sylvester Stallone. And the real life escape had no American involvement. The actor who played Blythe, the forger, was an actual POW. 76 total prisoners escaped. 73 were recaptured. 50 were actually murdered, as what happened in the movie. And that was a direct order from Hitler because he was so furious.
Oh, wow.
23 were sent back to prison camp, and 3 successfully escaped. 2 Norwegians and 1 Dutch. And the Dutch guy, it took him 3.5 months to get home. 3.5 months.
Oh, wow.
Because he went a lot of different routes. My friends here on set, here at the studio, and to all of you out there, I just want you to know The Great Escape was an amazing movie. And I can watch this movie over and over again as long as I have a few weeks, because it is a long movie. And it took a while to get rocking, but once it did, I was on edge at the end of the movie. I was straight up on edge. So I love this movie. Cameron, talk to me about The Truman Show. What
The
is
Truman
that?
Show. This is it's matched up against The Truman Show, which is kind of another escape movie. Jim Carrey thinks he's living a normal life, but his whole life is manufactured. He's on a TV show, and the TV show starts to kind of unravel. So, a studio light falls from the sky. The rain system malfunctions. He starts to notice that things are repeating. People are acting insincere because they're doing ad reads. It's really a one-of-a-kind movie. Like this movie, I watched it when I was younger. I was wanting to see if it held up, and it definitely does. This was one of the harder matchups for me with these two movies. Yep. It's a one-of-a-kind film. I think The Truman Show does an amazing job of giving us a premise that's really catchy and engaging. Jim Carrey nails it. The music's perfect. And then they weave in layers to the story. Then you have the guy who's leading the whole show is a character, and he's like the villain. And then you have a love interest, and it's like, wow, this could have just been a simple movie, but now you have all these extra layers to it. And I thought the plot really wove things together well. And it's just fun. It's just a movie that gets you to imagine what life would be like. Yeah. And then, we were talking about this on the last episode, but the difference between comfort and reality. And, what the creator of the show was trying to do was make a show for money, but he's trying to convince us as an audience, like his point of view is that Jim Carrey got everything he could ever want. His life is manicured and set up for him. He has all the comforts he could want, but it's not enough.
Public schools are out of control, and homeschooling isn't for everyone. But what about Catholic schools? Even many Catholic schools are drifting away from the faith. Is your Catholic school one of them? The next generation is at risk of forgetting their Catholic tradition and losing their faith. That's why we love the work of the St. John Henry Newman Institute. They help revitalize Catholic schools. They train leaders, give grants for schools in need, and build roadmaps to help schools transform their curriculums. The John Henry Newman Institute is the guide that Catholic schools need, and it's simple. At jhni.org, schools go through a simple application and assessment process and receive a tailored transformation plan so that their Catholic school can embrace tradition and teach the fullness of the faith. Whether you work at a Catholic school or just drop your child off there, make sure your school joins the John Henry Newman Institute network so that you can get peace of mind knowing that your Catholic school is really fully Catholic. Learn more and join us at jhni.org, accelerating the renewal of Catholic education. That's jhni.org, jhni.org.
This movie is such good proof that we're not made to live in a nice, safe terrarium, you know, where we're God's pets.
Yeah.
We're made to live in the dangerous real world as sons, and suffering is a good for us. That if our lives were perfectly manicured and perfectly set up for our success and our joy, then we would want more. We would want to try to get out. So I think this film has a very clear emotional heart to it. And then, yeah, like I said, a hard matchup, because The Great Escape was a great movie, but I'll throw it over to Keith then to talk about any of these.
Yeah, I'm with you guys both. I liked both of these movies.
Yeah.
I had seen The Truman Show years ago when it first came out, but had sort of forgotten about it. So rewatching it, I think it definitely held up. The Great Escape, I wasn't sure what to make of it. There were parts of it that I felt like were so over the top, unrealistic that, I mean, I can't imagine these guys having the kind of life they had in a, Nazi POW camp,
Right.
running around playing baseball and getting to, drink coffee and have secret meetings and all this kind of stuff. So at the end, when 50 of them get killed, you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay. But I really enjoyed it. I thought the acting was phenomenal. I thought the storytelling was interesting. The Truman Show, on the other hand, to me was like a little bit at the end. It kind of got a little bit cheesy, but I love the fact that it just ends with him leaving. You don't know what happens to him. You don't know, because that's really an invitation to all of us to think about whatever's out there. You don't know, but it's real.
Yeah.
So
You can imagine just him stepping outside the studio for the first time, seeing the real sun, the real sky.
Yeah.
And
like if there was ever a movie that could have had a sequel that didn't, I think that one could have.
sure.
But I don't know that they would have been able to top it, because that was so epic the way that it just ended like that. So to me, I think this is a tough matchup too. But what's interesting is these movies are completely different. Even though they're both escape movies to a certain degree, they take you in different journeys.
What I loved about The Great Escape is, and I don't know if it was too hard to believe. I took that as that's just what some of these camps were.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
They just wanted them to kind of not fight and just wait out the war. I just accepted that as history, but maybe it wasn't accurate. What I loved about it was it had a perfect setup for a movie. Like you have the camp, you have the prisoners arrive, you have the prisoners walk the camp, and you're seeing, everything about the set, by 10 minutes in. And then you get the different character motivations or styles, and their personalities come into play. And the exposition all made sense. Like when they're bringing in that new leader who's also in the camp, but he's in charge of not letting anyone escape. And they're explaining to him all the times these people have escaped. It's like, man, what a cool group of people they brought together. Like this camp is supposed to be like the place to keep them all together. But the deeper thing, which I loved even more than kind of the excellence in filmmaking, was that when I think of a camp, like a prisoner camp, I think of like, oh, I'm going to be tortured. Like something bad's going to happen to my body. And an escape movie is just like, I want to avoid that suffering and get out of there. But I didn't ever think of this, that like when a prisoner is captured, like a war prisoner, it's their duty to either escape or make it hell for the people who are keeping them there, to get people from the front lines to come have like double the guards because they're being such a hassle. I just thought that was so cool, because it is a more noble reason to escape.
That was very interesting when they said that, when the Germans were trying to convince them, why do you keep doing this? Just wait it out. This is my duty.
Yes.
Right.
And I've never thought about that before, that was their duty to try to escape. And it was almost like they had to take that for granted. Of course, we're going to try to escape. That's what we're supposed to do.
I don't know if he's a commander. I don't know his rank, but he's the leader of them all, right? He comes in 20 minutes in, and they tell him, if you get caught trying to escape again, like you're dead. Like we have to shoot you. But then the first thing he does is go in. He's like, all right, boys, here's the plan.
Yeah.
We're going to do it.
Yeah.
I just love that. And the way he leads them all with all their little gifts, not little gifts, all their particular gifts. I agree with you, Tony. I was completely hooked by this film. I actually had the opposite effect where everything leading up to the escape, I thought the rhythm was so tight and so compelling all the way through. But when they started to escape and they had to tie up every loose end, it felt too long for me. Like I didn't feel that tension anymore. It kind of felt like a documentary at that point. It's like, hey, what happened to these guys? And what happened to these guys?
I completely agree with that. I felt the same way. I felt like once they got out, I wanted the movie to be over.
Yes.
You guys are absolutely on crack. That's the great thing about the movie is that you get to follow like, oh, how's Danny? Like Danny was claustrophobic. Wait, there he is. He's where he's at in the wilderness and et cetera, wherever Danny ended up being. And I thought that was what kept hooking me in. Like, oh, I'm so nervous. What's going to happen to them? Like, oh my goodness, they got recaptured. Or holy moly, they're on the boat and they're going to, like, are they going to make it? Are they going to get it? I thought that was part of the genius of not just ending it where they got out, but the fact remains 73 were recaptured. So 76 got out, but 73 were recaptured. And then obviously, towards the end, it said this is dedicated to the 50 who were killed wrongly.
So explain this to me. So their plan was foiled at a certain point. Like they started hearing shots. They got found out. How did 150 escape? I kind of missed that.
No, 76 escaped.
They wanted 250 to escape.
Right.
Yes,
but they only got to 76 before.
It seemed like only like 10 got out. Like, because they were going one at a time, right?
Well, they couldn't. I don't think that would have been possible to show. Well, they got the 76th person out.
Well, I thought they were gonna like have like a train of people like rushing out or something, but we only saw like the main characters. So I was a little confused at how many got out.
Well, and keep in mind this actually happened, and it was what's crazy is. We were traveling somewhere and the kids were watching this documentary on Tom, Dick, and Harry, these 3 tunnels that they named. And there's a lot of information out there about it, but the reality is
it was super smart. Like how they the fact that it was true made it that much better. Like, okay, we got a time when you hit with the pickaxe in the ground versus what this guy working outside.
Yes.
And they have all these ways to keep it hidden.
The choir singing the songs while they're working and figuring out what to do with the dirt. It was just amazing,
And that was part of the genius is they were going to try to escape no matter what. Like if that meant they had to be killed, which is obviously what happened to one of the earlier in the film when one of them did die. So I thought this was. I'm gonna vote. We got to take a vote because we've got to do it. So I'm gonna go first. Great Escape. Keith.
Great Escape.
I enjoyed the Truman Show more as an experience, but The Great Escape is a better movie. The moral consequences are clear. And I'm happy to give it to the old movie this time.
I do want to say the Truman Show is brilliant.
I put the Truman Show at number 13 on the list. So you guys will see it on the list later. And that's pretty darn high.
That's pretty darn high. Well worth it. Jim Carrey, amazing actor. And there you have it, folks. The Great Escape. If you liked that clip, which I'm sure you did, then check out our other clips. And don't forget to go into the comments section and hype this bad boy. Don't make me get fat cardinal. Hype it now.